What's up, guys? We are back with a full slate of MLB action here on Sunday, July 14th. Sorry about no video on Saturday, guys. We were traveling and ran into some internet troubles. After we made a whole video and edited it, we could not get it to upload. Made a community post that a lot of you found. We went 3-3 on those plays overall. Not exactly what we were looking for. We had some solid wins, though. We hit a loss in our first one, guys, in the no-run first inning on Pittsburgh Chicago White Sox. Flexen got off to a pretty bad start in that one, so that was unfortunate, but we hit the Cincinnati Reds -1.5. That was at +125. The Reds had a big offensive outburst there to win 10-6. We also hit on the Phillies -1.5. That was at +105. We saw both Harper and Schwarber look good in that one, and they won 11-5. So pretty much no sweat there. We also hit our under in that Kansas City Boston game. It was a 5-0 dominant start from Crawford out there, with the win coming to the Boston Red Sox and the win coming to us there on the under. But guys, things went all kinds of off the rails on Atlanta -110. It was a complete trend reversal. We saw Cease look great against a team that he had been dominated by before, and Lopez got shelled by the Padres, who he had looked very good against earlier in the season. So that one didn't go the way we thought it would. Neither did Seattle -154. That was a 2-1 loss. Kirby was very, very good in that game, but Soriano was just a little bit better. So let's get back on track here for a Sunday slate before taking some time off for the All-Star break. If there's another sport you would like to see videos on during the break, let me know down in the comments. Before we get into the games, guys, do me a big favor and hit that like button. It's a great way to show some support for the channel and all the work we put in here every single day. If you're new, go ahead and subscribe. It's 100% free and can keep you from missing out on these picks. Our videos are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com. Click the link in the description to go over there and join our free email list and check out our top confidence plays in all the major sports. Comment below with all the bets you're looking at today, and we will give you our best advice on all of them. We respond to absolutely every single comment, so let us know anything you want to say about my picks, these videos, or anything you see here. As always, our final picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into our first game of the day. We've got the New York Yankees going on the road to take on the Baltimore Orioles. The Yankees come into this game fresh off of a 6-1 win there in game 2 of this series. They won both of the the opening couple games, looking very, very good there. We saw Soto and Judge hit back-to-back home runs in that game. Like, very, very positive stuff for a Yankees team that really needed to get back on track at that here. They've won 3 out of the last 4, so things are looking good, but big question mark here, handing the ball to Carlos Rodon, who's 9-7 this season with a 4.63 ERA, coming off of what looks like a 5th straight bad start, guys. The Yankees are 0-5 over his last 5 outings, just not looking like he did earlier in the season. Things have absolutely gone off the rails for him. So major questions for me from what we're going to see from Rodon in this game. Also some pretty big questions on what we can actually expect from this Yankees bullpen, guys. Has not been the same recently. I mean, the last couple of games have been better, don't get me wrong, but a 3.49 bullpen ERA is not where they were at earlier in the season. Just not a bullpen I 100% trust right now, but yeah, kind of not a pitching staff I trust either, just kind of overall in this one. The offense obviously is coming back alive, scoring 10 combined runs over their last 2 games, so things are looking up right now. But man, if Soto and Judge don't have big games, like, where is the production exactly going to come from? This is still a team that's missing some key pieces, so I'm a little bit worried about them going up against the Baltimore Orioles, who is a team I'm even more worried about. They've lost 5 straight now. They're having an absolute disaster here heading into the All-Star break. They're handing the ball to Dean Kremer, who's 4-5 this season with a 4.42 ERA. He's coming off a terrible start against the lowly Chicago Cubs. Not what we expected to see in that one, guys. He went 4 innings, gave up 7 hits and 5 earned runs, 7 runs overall, 2 home runs in that game. Just a very, very bad outing. A big letdown after a very good start at Seattle. I mean, it was at Seattle, though, so, basically a non-hitting team. So, yeah, big concerns about Kremer. Also, some concerns here about that Baltimore Orioles bullpen that's down to a 3.80 bullpen ERA, not nearly as good as they've been at other points this season, hovering around league average now, and they used to be one of the league leaders. And the offense is gone, guys. Where has the Baltimore Orioles league leading offense gone? They've scored 1, 1, 0, 0, and 2 runs respectively over this losing streak. They got swept by the Cubs, and they're about to get swept by the Yankees. Absolutely crazy stuff out there right now from the Orioles offense. And looking at the numbers of this game, guys, we see the Yankees at +102 despite Rodon being on the mound. We see the Orioles at -112. We've got over-unders of 9 or 9.5 floating around out there. The Yankees are 33-20 on the road. Baltimore is 29-22 at home. We see both teams are slight over teams, so maybe that over 9 could be in play. But man, with how bad the Orioles offense has been looking, I don't really know. This is a tough game to figure out, guys. I'm leaning towards the Orioles -112 with a chance for Kremer to have a decent outing, and for the Orioles to make Rodon's bad streak continue. But overall, guys, this is a game I'm staying far away from. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the Kansas City Royals going on the road to take on the Boston Red Sox. The Royals come to this game fresh off of a 5-0 loss there in game 2 of this series. They won game 1 6-1 though. They're 52-44 on the year, handing the ball to Brady Singer, who's 5-5 this season with a 2.93 ERA. He's coming off of yet another excellent start, guys. His last 4 starts, he's given up exactly 1 run in each of them. Just absolutely dominant stuff out there. We do see the Royals are only 2-2 over those 4 starts, which is kind of embarrassing. I mean, the dude's been giving you absolute gems out there, and you haven't been able to, come away with as many wins as you should. But right now, very happy with how Singer is throwing the ball in terms of their bullpen, guys. The Royals haven't been looking as good as they did earlier in the season. They're sporting a bullpen ERA of 4.26. That is below MLB average, so that is a big concern. This bullpen used to be great, not looking so great right now. The offense obviously coming off of a game where they got shut out, so that's not ideal. We do see they just acquired Harvey from the Nationals to bolster this bullpen, so maybe that can help the bullpen a little bit. But right now, guys, some concerns about this offense. They did just get shut out, but they've scored 6, 8, and 6 runs before that, so not terrible. We see Bobby Witt Jr. hitting the ball well. Salvador Perez is up to 16 home runs and a 279 batting average. That's not terrible. This team's 13th in the majors in runs scored. They're just a little bit above average on offense, and they're taking a Boston Red Sox team who comes in this game fresh off a much-needed 5-0 win. They're handing the ball to Brian Bello, who's 9-5 this season with a 5.40 ERA. Coming off of not a great start, guys. He went 5 1/3 innings, gave up 9 hits and 5 earned runs against the Oakland A's in a game Boston had to go absolutely nuts to eventually win 12-9. So yeah, not his best stuff. I mean, his last couple starts, he had a good start and a bad start against Toronto. Like, he had a bad start against the Yankees. Brian Bello, not exactly a fellow that we have a ton of faith in. The Red Sox bullpen, guys, has been very good this season, but maybe not so hot lately. They're down towards 10th to 12th, something like that in the majors, sporting a 3.67 bullpen ERA, so that's not ideal. And the offense has been pretty uneven, guys. They've scored 5, 1, 7, 2, and 12 runs, respectively. So what can we expect to see from this offense in this game? Seems kind of hard to figure out, guys. How good are they going to look against a guy like Brady Singer, who's been throwing the ball so well recently? I mean, Singer has been absolutely nuts. There's no debate about that. He hasn't faced the Red Sox yet this year, so there's not a lot of information we can glean there. But in general in this game, guys, I'm looking at the Royals plus 110. I've got very little faith in Bello here. I'm not too interested in that over-under of 9.5. I mean, we see both teams showing trends towards the under, but we really want to be taking the under in a game like this with Bello on the mound. Like, that seems a bit sketch. If you're convinced you really want to bet the over-under in this game, I do think the under is the play. But overall, guys, I think the Royals plus 110 in a bounce-back spot is the better value for sure. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the Oakland Athletics going on the road to take on the Philadelphia Phillies. The A's come into this game fresh off an 11-5 loss there at the Phillies in Game 2 of that series. They're handing the ball in this one to Joey Estes, who's 3-4 this season with a 5.53 ERA. He's coming off a terrible outing at Boston where he just got absolutely demolished over only 1 2/3 innings. Absolutely did not have it. He did have some decent starts in there against teams like the Angels and the Twins, but yeah, we've got some questions right now about Estes. We also have some questions about that A's bullpen. I mean, not a ton of questions. They've been a little bit better than you would have expected, slightly above average in terms of bullpen ERA and stuff like that, so we'll give the bullpen a little bit of credit, but not a bullpen that I'm super high on. Also not an offense that I'm super high on, guys. They've scored 5, 6, 0, 5, 9, 3. Like, they've had their moments recently. I have to give them some credit here, but this just isn't an offense I've got a ton of faith in. I mean, they're 28th in the majors in runs scored, 28th in the majors, batting .225 as a team, and they're only getting on base at a .296 percentage. Like, that's just not an amazing offense. Not an offense that I'm super interested in. They're going up against the Phillies in this game, who are cruising right along. They're handing the ball in this one to Orion Kerkering. He comes into this game. He's going to be making a start, which he's been a bullpen guy in general, but man, has he been lights out coming out of the pen. I mean, over his last 5 outings, he has not given up a run. He has given up a couple hits here and there, that's true, but he's got some strikeouts. He has no walks, so the control is looking great. How deep do we expect him to go in this game? That's hard to tell, like how far they're willing to stretch him out here, but guys, if they, they're leaning on their bullpen to make this entire outing, it looks like to me, and with the Phillies bullpen sporting a 3.35 bullpen ERA over the course of the season, that is no problem for me. No problem for me at all. I think this bullpen is more than capable of stringing together an entire good start. And guys, this offense cruising along right now. We see Harper and Schwarber both back out there, both looking very good. These are two of the biggest sluggers in the majors, and having them back there in the roster is just a huge deal for this team looking to head into the All-Star break strong. I mean, 62, could be 63 wins here. They are just looking like absolute monsters. So looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we see the A's at plus 215. We see the Phillies at minus 260. We got an over-under of 10 in this game. Oakland is only 14-36 on the road. The Phillies are 37-14 at home. That's very respectable. We do see both teams showing trends towards the under. Oakland is 28-20-2 to the under on the road, and the Phillies are 26-22-3 to the under at home. So under 10 definitely seems like it's in play to me. I'm not expecting a ton of runs from the A's at all. I do worry a little bit that the Phillies could have a huge offensive outburst and kind of put this game over the top. In general, in this game, guys, I'm looking towards the run line here. I think if you take the Phillies -1.5 and get them at that -130 number, that is very, very reasonable to me. Obviously not a fantastic price, so I'm not sure if it'll end up in the pinned comment, but I have very few worries about the Phillies bullpen making this entire start. I think they're going to be just fine out there. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the Cleveland Guardians going on the road to take on the Tampa Bay Rays. The Guardians come to this game fresh off of a 4-2 win there in Game 2 of this series. They're 58-36 on the season, handing the ball in this game to Ben Lively, who's 8-4 this year with a 3.59 ERA. He's coming off a weird start, guys. It was a weird one at Detroit for him. He went 5 1/3 innings, gave up 7 hits and 6 earned runs. Definitely much worse than we've come to expect from him this season. Just not a good outing for him. Maybe it's a bad matchup or something like that, but yeah, just could not seem to get on track in that game. Overall this season, though, he's been very, very good. And guys, even better than him has been this Cleveland bullpen. A 2.64 bullpen ERA has them absolute tops in the majors, and they are not moving out of that spot. They are an elite bullpen, guys. No notes. This pen can absolutely get the job done. So if Lively can, just hand them any sort of lead, they should be in very good shape. And yeah, I mean, with Quan and Jose Ramirez out there, trying to lead this offense, should be in a pretty good spot. They haven't been hitting the ball great recently, though. They've scored 4, 0, 1, and 4 runs respectively over their last few games. But yeah, this is an offense that's nearly that bad, guys. They're 10th in the majors in runs scored this season for a reason. 11th in the majors, getting on base at a 317 clip. Like, they're batting 244 as a team, which is exactly MLB average. But guys, this is not a bad offense. I'm expecting them to, come alive here at some point, and it could be in this game going up against the Tampa Bay Rays, who are 47-48 this season, handing the ball to Ryan Pepiot, who's 5-5 this year with a 4.20 ERA. He's coming off a great start against the Yankees. He went 5 2/3, gave up 4 hits and only a single earned run. And honestly, he's looked great over his last 4 starts in a row. That includes a start at home against the Yankees, on the road against Kansas City, at home against the Mariners. I mean, it's the Mariners. And then on the road against the Pirates. That was not actually a great outing, guys. He only lasted 3 1/3 innings. So yeah, I mean, we have some questions here about Pepiot, but he's looked pretty good this season. Definitely have to give him his flowers. And in general, though, the Rays bullpen has been very bad this year, guys. They may be trending in slightly a positive direction, but still with a 4.37 bullpen ERA. That is easily bottom 6 or 7 in the majors this season. So yeah, big questions about the bullpen. Also some questions about these bats, guys. They've scored 2, 2, 5, 1, and 5 runs respectively over their last few games. This team is 27th in the majors in runs scored, 26th in the majors in slugging percentage. Just not a very good offensive team. And looking at the numbers for this one, guys, we see the Guardians at +106, the Rays at -121. We've got an over-under of 7.5 in this game. Cleveland, not an amazing road team, but they are 28-25 on the road. Like, that's not bad. And the Rays are only 26-27 at home, so nothing too dominant there. We see some mixed trends towards the over-under. Not really too interested in that over-under of 7.5 in this game, guys, but I am interested in the Cleveland Guardians +106. Getting the Guardians +106 with Ben Lively on the mound doesn't seem like a bad price at all. So this is definitely getting some consideration to end up in the pinned comment. Next on the docket, guys, we have the Colorado Rockies going on the road to take on the New York Mets. The Rockies come to this game fresh off of a 7-3 loss in Game 2 of this series. They're not having a great time lately. They're down to 33-63 on the year. They're hitting the ball in this one to German Marquez. He is 2-2 this season with a 4.95 ERA, and by this season, I actually mean in 2023. He's going to be making his first start of the year coming off of the IL, so coming back from Tommy John surgery, we'll see how he looks, see how deep they let him go into this game. It's going to be kind of interesting. Not a huge guy out there, a right-handed pitcher, so we'll see what he's got in his first start back there on the mound after Tommy John, though. I definitely have my reservations about him. Also, obviously, have all the reservations about this Rockies bullpen that is worst in the majors with a 5.86 bullpen ERA. Absolutely atrocious stuff from the bullpen, so we'll see what they can do, but I'm not expecting anything good here. And yeah, guys, the bats haven't been amazing lately either. They've scored 3, 6, and 1 run respectively over their last 3 games. This team is 21st in the majors in runs scored, 22nd in the majors in on-base percentage. Just not a very good offense, and playing away from Coors Field isn't exactly helping that right now. They're taking on the New York Mets, who come into this game playing great. They've won their last 5 in a row to run their record to 49-45 on the season. They're handing the ball in this game to Jose Quintana, who's 4-5 this year with a 3.91 ERA. He's coming off of back-to-back dominant outings, guys. They were both against the Nationals. In both of them, he went 7 innings, and in both, he gave up absolutely 0 runs. So very, very good stuff there. He's looked very good recently. He's had some ups and downs this season, not a ton. Generally, he's been pretty reliable this year. I don't have a ton of notes here for Quintana. Looking very good out there over his last 5 starts. And the Mets bullpen, while they don't have great season-long numbers, I mean, a 4.19 bullpen ERA over the course of the season, clearly not great, they do have pretty decent numbers lately. Things are trending in a positive direction for a bullpen that's had its issues. So looking like a pretty decent pen out there, and the offense is humming right along, guys. They've scored 7 runs in each of their last 3 games. They've scored 7, 7, 7, 6, and 7 runs respectively over their last 5. Absolutely killing it right now. We're seeing, just production up and down the roster. Things are looking fantastic right now for a team that's up to 7th in the majors in runs scored, and they're now top 10 in batting average, on base percentage, and 7th in the majors in slugging percentage. So this offense looking absolutely dominant. Looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Rockies at plus 188, the Mets at minus 205. We got an over-under of 8.5 in this game. If you wanted to take a look at the over-under in this one, there's some mixed trends, so I'm not super interested in that. But guys, I am interested in taking the Mets at minus 1.5. If you take them at minus 1.5, you can get them at plus 100 or minus 102, something like that. And that is a fantastic situation because I think the Mets are going to absolutely dominate this game. Not expecting great things from Marquez coming off of Tommy John surgery. Quintana's been looking very, very good lately. So go ahead and give me the Mets in this one. I think they win it comfortably. I mean, they're 26-24 at home, and Colorado is 13-36 on the road. So yeah, the Mets, big is my play in this one. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the LA Dodgers going on the road to take on the Detroit Tigers. The Dodgers come into this game fresh off of an 11-9 loss there in game 2 of this series. Not ideal. They're down to 56-40 on the year, so obviously not a disaster there. We don't have a confirmed starter for them in this game. I mean, in general, their starters have been decent this season, above average for sure, but yeah, I mean, a pretty big question mark there, not knowing who's exactly going to start this game. If it does end up being a full bullpen start for the Dodgers, we're not too worried about that, guys. I mean, as a bullpen, they're sporting a 3.39 ERA this season, so that is obviously not a huge problem. I do think the pen could put together a full game worth of start here, but things haven't been looking amazing for this pen, maybe over the last game, maybe 2 games. So yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. Some big questions about this pitching staff right now. And the offense, they are coming off a game where they scored 9 runs, obviously. They've scored 9, 4, 1, and 3 runs respectively. And then 1 run the game before that. Like, offense not necessarily firing on all cylinders here for the Dodgers, and they're taking on a Tigers team that's won 3 out of their last 4 overall to get to 46-50 on the year. They're handing the ball in this one to Bo Brisicki, I believe is how you say this name. It's a very hard name to pronounce. He's sporting a 3.52 ERA this season. He's going to be making his first start this year. Obviously, this is looking like a bullpen situation for the Tigers here, and I mean, he's been fine, but how has their bullpen been really over the course of the season? I mean, not great. A 4.20 bullpen ERA is definitely a problem area. They're in the bottom half of the league for sure. So I do have some question marks about this bullpen if this ends up being, like a bullpen start versus a bullpen start situation, which is very much what it's looking like. The Tigers offense has been looking better. I mean, they scored 11 runs in their last game. They've scored 11, 3, 10, and 5 runs respectively over their last few. We see Riley Green hitting the ball really well. This team is up to 17th in the majors in runs scored, 18th in the majors in slugging percentage, 24th in the majors in team batting average. So that's obviously not a very appealing number, but regardless, guys, looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Dodgers as a sizable favorite at minus 167. The Tigers are plus 144. We've got an over-under of 9.5 in this game. The Dodgers are 27-21 on the road. Detroit is 23-24 at home. We see mixed trends towards the over-under. Honestly, in this game, guys, I'm leaning slightly towards the Dodgers minus 167, but with this being a bullpen versus bullpen situation and a lot of unknowns out there, honestly, this is probably a stay-away spot for me or a slight lean towards the Dodgers. Moving right along here, guys, we got the Miami Marlins going on the road to take on the Cincinnati Reds. The Marlins come to this game fresh off of a 10-6 loss to the Reds in game 2 of this series. Not having a good time right now, losers of their last 5 in a row. They're handing the ball to Trevor Rogers, who's 1-9 this season with a 4.82 ERA, hoping he can kind of stem the tide, and he's been good lately. I mean, he's given up no more than 3 earned runs over any of his last 5 starts. He's actually only given up 3 in 1 start, and yeah, the Marlins are only 2-3 over those 5 starts, but in general, guys, he's been doing all he can to keep this team in winning positions, but man, when you come out of the game and that Marlins bullpen comes in, it's not ideal. The bullpen hasn't been quite as bad as you would think. I mean, a 4.00 bullpen ERA is not the end of the world, but also not a bullpen that we're super pumped about, and the offense hasn't really been there recently either, guys. I mean, 6, 4, 3, and 1 run respectively over their last few games. This team is 29th in the majors in runs scored, 29th in the majors, getting on base at a 283 clip. That's pretty bad, guys. Their slugging percentage is 354. That's 29th in the majors also. So not a lot of good things to see coming out of this offense, and they're taking on a Cincinnati Reds team that's been killing it lately. They've won their last 3 in a row. They won 5 of their last 6 overall to get to 47 and 49 on the year. They're hitting the ball in this game to Nick Lodolo, who's 8-3 this season with a 3.30 ERA. He's had a little bit of trouble lately, guys. Over the course of the season, he's been very, very good, but his last 2 outings have been a bit problematic. I mean, he only lasted 4 2/3 innings against the Red Sox and gave up 3 earned runs, 4 runs overall in that game. And then his last time out, back on the 9th, he was going up against the Rockies. He went 3 2/3 innings, gave up 5 hits and 4 earned runs in that one. So clearly he hasn't been himself. I mean, he just came off the IL. He had a blister. So, we'll see what we actually get out of him in this game. I would assume he's back to full strength with, basically if your hand feels fine, you're fine. If your hand feels terrible and you can't grip the ball correctly, you are pretty much just effed out there. So I think we can expect good things from Lodolo in this one. I trust him to be fully healthy. If he wasn't, they would probably just let him sit out through the All-Star break. And once he comes out of the game, guys, you've got that Cincinnati Reds bullpen that has been fantastic, guys. They're up to top 6 in the majors, with a 3.47 bullpen ERA. So definitely if Lodolo can hand them the ball with a lead, we can expect good things. And the way the Reds are swinging the bats, they're going to have some leads, guys. They've scored 10, 7, 8, 5, 12, and 6 runs respectively over their last several games. Things are just looking great for them right now. Their offense is up to 14th in the majors in runs scored. They are still only 20th in the majors in on-base percentage, but that slugging percentage is hitting a big spike right now. So seeing a lot of good things from the Reds in this game. And looking at the numbers, we see the Marlins at plus 166, the Reds at minus 180. We've got an over-under in this game of 9. Miami is 14-32 on the road, so a terrible road team. The Reds are 25-27 at home, so not overwhelming home numbers. We see both teams showing trends towards the under, though. We see Miami is 28-18 to the under on the road. We see Cincinnati is 27-22-3 to the under at home. In general, guys, I do think there's some reason to take the Reds minus 180 in this game, but I am leaning pretty significantly towards under 9 in this game. I mean, we've seen good things from Trevor Rogers recently for sure, and kind of over the course of the season, to be honest. He hasn't faced the Reds yet this year, so nothing to go off of like that, but we also expect pretty good things from Lodolo. I do think he's going to bounce back in this game. He hasn't faced the Marlins yet this season either, so no familiarity with these pitchers, and I think we can trust both bullpens enough to be pretty comfortable with that under 9. I don't think we're going to see a ton of offense in this game. I know that's a little bit weird for a Sunday game, and we have seen good amounts of offense so far in this series, so maybe approach that under 9 with a little bit of caution, but I think that's the value side in this game with these starters. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the Pittsburgh Pirates going on the road to take on the Chicago White Sox. The Pirates come into this game fresh off of a 6-2 win there in Game 2 of the series. They've now won 3 in a row. They've won 5 of their last 6 overall to get to 47 and 48 on the year. They're hitting the ball in this game to Mitch Keller, who's 10-5 this season with a 3.40 ERA. He's coming off a very good start against the Mets. He went 8 innings, gave up 7 hits, and 2 earned runs in that one. So an extended start for sure. We have some question marks about how guys usually look after extended starts, so that's something to definitely keep in mind. I mean, Keller's been very good this season, don't get me wrong. He has yet to face the White Sox, so that's fine, but in general, we're a little bit leery of taking a guy who's coming off of such an extended start. And the Pirates offense, guys, and the Pirates bullpen, guys, I mean, hasn't been looking great lately. A 4.42 bullpen ERA is bottom 5 in the majors, so major concerns there for me about their bullpen once Keller comes out of this game, which I could see it being early with him coming off of such an extended start his last time out. The offense has been looking pretty good, 6, 4, 1, 0, and 12 runs respectively over their last few games. Obviously, Brian Reynolds, an absolute monster. We've seen Tommy Pham do some crazy things for the White Sox lately, but yeah, right now, guys, Brian Reynolds absolutely carrying things for the Pirates and looking like a monster up there. So some positive things to see from this offense that hasn't been amazing over the course of the season. They're taking the Chicago White Sox, who've now lost 3 in a row at 27-70 on the season. Not a lot of good things to report. They're hitting the ball in this game to Jared Schuster, who is going to be making his second start of the year. He's basically a bullpen guy that does some long relief, and he's going to be starting this game. Not a ton of positive things to say about him. He's not going to go deep into this game. He pitched back on the 12th, so he's not going to go for very long, and we're just going to see a full bullpen start here from the White Sox, who have the 3rd worst bullpen in Major League Baseball with a 4.60 bullpen ERA, so that's a major concern. This is also one of the worst offensive teams in the majors, and they're not swinging the bats well right now. They've scored 2, 1, and 2 runs respectively over their last 3. They're last in runs scored, last in batting average, last in on-base percentage, and last in slugging percentage. So, yeah, pretty much a disaster situation here for the White Sox. Looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Pirates at minus 205, the White Sox at plus 175. We've got an over-under of 8.5 in this game. Pirates are 25-24 on the road. White Sox 17 and 33 at home. That's an MLB worst mark at home. We see both of these teams showing trends to the under when playing. Like we see the Pirates are a slight under team on the road. The White Sox are 30, 18, and 2 to the under at home. So you would normally want to take a look at maybe under 8.5. But with these two pitchers out there on the mound, and by these two pitchers I mean Mitch Keller coming off a long start, and then the White Sox bullpen making the whole start, I'm not going to be interested in the under in this game. In general, guys, I'm leaning towards the Pirates minus 205. If you wanted to take a minus 1.5, I get behind that too. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to put this one in the pinned comment. I just have too many questions about how Mitch Keller is going to look coming off of that extended start. That's just a trend we can't ignore in this one. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Texas Rangers going on the road to take on the Houston Astros. The Rangers come into this game fresh off of a 2-1 win there at Houston in Game 2 of this series. They're 45 and 50 on the road, so still a lot of work to do. They're handing the ball to Max Scherzer in this game. He's 1-2 this season with a 3.09 ERA, coming off of kind of a questionable start there at the Angels. I mean, we did see the Rangers win that game 5-4, but he went 6 2/3 innings, gave up 8 hits, 4 runs, 3 of them were earned, and he gave up 2 home runs. He's given up at least 1 home run in each of his last 3 starts, and he's averaging giving up 1 home run per game this season. So I've got some questions about how Scherzer is looking right now, and it's not like he's about to take on the easiest offense either. The Rangers bullpen has not been great, so you need a lot out of their starters when you've got a bullpen that's sporting a 4.39 bullpen ERA, one of the worst 5 or 6 in the majors. The offense has scored 2, 3, 2, and 5 runs respectively over their last few games. Not killing it, guys. They're 16th in the majors in runs scored, 20th in the majors in slugging percentage. Got some significant questions about how this offense is looking, and they're taking on the Houston Astros in this game. We were obviously coming off of that loss, but they won Game 1 of this series 6-3, and at 50 and 45 in the year, they are only 1 game back now of the Seattle Mariners for the top spot there in the AL West. They're handing the ball to Ronald Blanco in this game, who's been a monster this season. He's 9-3 with a 2.53 ERA, coming off of a very good start against the Miami Marlins. He went 7 innings, gave up 4 hits and 2 earned runs. 7 innings is borderline an extended start. If he'd went any more than that, I would be, willing to tag him with that, oh, he made an extended start, we got to stay away from this guy situation. But I don't think that's quite enough for a guy who's went 7 innings in a couple, I would say 3 of his last 5 starts, something like that. So yeah, seems like 7 innings for Blanco, not exactly a huge deal. So not scared of Blanco. Are we scared of this Houston bullpen right now? Well, guys, honestly, that bullpen's been trending in such a positive direction since having a terrible early season. They're up in the top half of the majors now with a 3.70 bullpen ERA. So not scared of the bullpen, not scared of the starter. Am I worried about the bats for this team? Absolutely. Every single time I back the Astros, I'm very worried about what their offense is actually going to do, which is crazy considering the fact they're first in the majors in batting average and first in the majors in on-base percentage. Just seems like this team is great at finding ways not to score runs, but over the last few games, they've scored 1, 6, 6, 9, and 4 runs respectively. So I'm expecting them to put up some runs in this game, even going up against Scherzer, who's been giving up some home runs. And yeah, I mean, once the bullpen comes in there, all bets are off. So in general, looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Rangers at plus 136. We see the Astros at minus 125. We've got an over-under of 8.5 in this game. The Rangers are 21 and 29 on the road, so not a very good road team. We see the Astros are 28 and 20 at home, so a decent home team. We see mixed trends towards the over-under. Not really interested in that over-under of 8.5, but guys, go ahead and give me the Astros minus 125 in this game. I think they find a way to win, even with Max Scherzer going up against them. I think they're going to put up plenty of runs. Maybe not against Scherzer, but definitely against that Rangers bullpen. So yeah, give me the Astros in this one for sure. Next on the docket, guys, we got the Washington Nationals going on the road to take on the Milwaukee Brewers. The Nationals come to this game fresh off of 2 straight wins. They've won the first 2 games of the series. They won 5-2 and 6-5. They're 44 and 52 on the year, so lots of work to do. They're handing the ball to Jake Irvin in this game, who's 7-7 this season with a 3.13 ERA. He's coming off of a pretty bad start at the Mets, guys. He went 6 innings, gave up 9 hits and 6 earned runs, including 2 home runs. A huge departure. He just had an 8-inning start against the Mets on the 4th. Did amazing, shut them out over 8 innings, and then after that extended start, had a very hard time. I mean, he still stayed out there for 6 innings, so give him some credit for trying to battle, but things did not exactly go his way in that one. So we've got some questions about how he's going to look in this game after that bad outing. We also have some questions about the Nationals bullpen that's not exactly trending in the right direction, guys. I mean, they're not terrible. They're a little bit below average with a 4.03 bullpen ERA, but not a bullpen that I have, unconditional trust in. And this offense, while they have scored 11 runs over the combined over the first 2 games of this series. It's not the best offensive team, guys. I mean, they're 20th in the majors in runs scored, 25th in the majors in slugging percentage. They're only getting on base at a 309 clip. Like, I have some questions about this Nationals offense. And coming into this game, going up against the Brewers, they're going to have to score some runs. The Brewers coming into this game, losers over the last 3 in a row, straight up not having the best time. They're 54 and 42 on the season, handing the ball in this game to Colin Ray, who's 8-3 this year with a 3.81 ERA. He's coming off a terrible start against the Pirates, where we once again saw a guy struggle coming off an extended start. He went 7 innings, which is not the norm for him in his start at the Rockies. He followed that up with a 5-inning start against the Pirates where he gave up 6 hits and 7 earned runs. So do we think he'll bounce back in this one going up against the Nationals? I think there's a very, very good chance that he will. He hasn't faced the Nationals yet this season, so there's not a lot we can glean from that. But in general, over his last 5 starts, he's looked pretty good, except for when he's coming off of those extended outings. This 5-inning outing was not an extended one, so I think we'll see good things from Colin Ray. What do I think we'll see from this Brewers bullpen? They're not exactly, killing it at this exact moment, but they are still 3rd in the majors with a 3.35 bullpen ERA, so not expecting anything terrible from that bullpen. Do need the offense to get a little bit back on track, guys. They've scored 5, 2, and 0 runs respectively over their last 3 games. This is a much better offense than that. Maybe they're looking ahead to the All-Star break, which is something of a concern for a few of these teams. However, they are 8th in the majors in runs scored, 8th in the majors getting on base at a 254 clip, and 3rd in the majors in on-base percentage. So looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Nationals at plus 130. We've got the Brewers at minus 144. We've got an over-under of 8.5 in this one. The Nationals are only 24 and 28 on the road. Milwaukee is 28 and 17 at home. We see mixed trends towards the over-under, so we're not super interested in the over-under, although I do feel like over 8.5 is in play with the Brewers being 26, 15, and 4 to the over at home. But in general, guys, I just like the Brewers in this one. I think this is a great bounce back spot for Colin Ray. I'm worried about Jake Irvin's ability to go, just do well in this game coming off an extended start. So give me the Brewers in this one as a small lean. Moving right along, guys, we've got the Chicago Cubs going on the road to take on the St. Louis Cardinals. The Cubs come into this game fresh off of another tough loss, guys. They won game 1 of this series at St. Louis, but lost games 2 and game 3. We saw Arenado hit a 2-run single in the 8th to help the Cardinals eventually win that game. The Cubs are 46 and 51 on the season, hitting the ball to Jameson Taillon in this game. He's 6-4 this year with a 2.99 ERA, coming off of a very reasonable start at Baltimore. He went 6 innings, gave up 4 hits and 2 earned runs. He has given up a home run in each of his last 5 outings, but in general, things look pretty decent. He did have to battle in his last start against the Cardinals, but a battle he did. He went 6 innings, gave up 7 hits and 2 earned runs. I do think he's got better stuff in the tank than that, and I mean, while he is pitching on the road in this one, I don't think that's too big of a concern for a guy like Taillon. The Cubs bullpen also maybe hasn't been its best recently. I mean, a 4.04 bullpen ERA is not terrible, though. Somewhere, in there around league average. The bats have also been, a little bit quiet in the first, so far in the series, they've scored 5, 3, and 4 runs respectively, so not a disaster, not terrible, but not up to that little hot streak they had going there. They're 18th in the majors in runs scored, 13th in the majors in on base percentage, so not a terrible offensive team. And they're taking on the Cardinals, who come into this game obviously playing well, winning their last 2 in a row. They're 50 and 45 in the season, only 3.5 games back of the Milwaukee Brewers. Unfortunately for the Cardinals, or at least usually unfortunately, they're handing the ball to Miles Mikolas. He's coming into this game fresh off of an amazing start. He went 6 1/3 innings, gave up 6 hits and no runs against the Washington Nationals. The last time he faced the Cubs was back on the 16th. It was at Wrigley Field. He went 6 1/3 innings, gave up 4 hits and only a single earned run. So very good stuff from Mikolas in that one, but he has been all over the place this season. I have some significant questions about what we can really trust him to do out there on the mound. I mean, he's got 2 starts this season against the Cubs, and one of them was very good, and one of them was kind of middle of the road. So, yeah, what will we get from Mikolas in this game? Very hard to tell. What will we get from the Cardinals bullpen? I would say something good, guys. This bullpen has been very, very good recently. Easily top 10 in the majors with a 3.48 bullpen ERA. The offense is kind of coming alive. I mean, scoring 5 and 11 runs in, the last 2 games, but game 1 of the series, they scored 1 run. They didn't look that amazing against the Royals in that series, so still some questions about this offense that's 21st in the majors in runs scored. And looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Cubs at plus 116, the Cardinals at minus 124. We've got an over-under of 8.5 in this one. The Cubs are only 21 and 30 on the road. We see the Cardinals are 25 and 21 at home. In general, on the side in this game, I'm leaning towards the Cubs plus 116. I just think Taillon has a significant edge on Mikolas. I don't know what we're going to see from Mikolas in this game. Really, he's very inconsistent. Could he get banged up by the Cubs? Sure. Could he have a great outing against the Cubs? Sure. Yeah, just don't really know what to expect from him. In terms of the over-under in this game, we do see the Cubs are an under team on the road. The Cardinals are a 50-50 over-under team playing at home. So not a huge lean on that one. Not a huge huge lean in this game overall, to be honest. Just a slight lean towards the Cubs plus 116. Next on the docket, guys, we got the Minnesota Twins going on the road to take on the San Francisco Giants. The Twins come into this game fresh off of a 4-2 win there in Game 2 of this series. They're 54-41 on the season, handing the ball in this game to Chris Paddock, who's 5-3 this year with a 5.18 ERA. He is coming off a good start against the White Sox. It was the White Sox, so obviously take that with a grain of salt. 5 innings, 3 hits, and 2 earned runs against the White Sox. Maybe doesn't even really qualify as a good start. And he's had his issues over his last 5. A bad start at the Yankees back on the 5th, a questionable start, actually a couple questionable starts against the Oakland A's in there. Yeah, I mean, yeah, not a guy that I feel like we can really trust right now. Even with that potent Twins offense behind him, we'll see what he can do. Going up against the Giants isn't exactly the easiest task. The Twins bullpen has been much better lately. They're up in the top 10 in the majors with a 3.54 bullpen ERA, so that's great. This offense really kind of has to carry the load at times for this team, and sometimes they're up to it, guys. This team is 6th in the majors in runs scored, 4th in the majors batting .255 as a team. Like, this is a good offense, but they've only scored 4, 1, 3, and 1 run respectively over their last 4 games. So not exactly transcendent stuff there. They're taking on the San Francisco Giants, who come into this game losers of 3 out of their last 4. They're 46-50 on the year, handing the ball to Blake Snell in this game, who's 0-3 this season with a 7.85 ERA. He is coming off a great start, though, guys. He had a fantastic start against the Toronto Blue Jays, where he went 5 innings, he had 1 hit, and no runs while striking out 3 and walking 3 in a game that we eventually saw the Giants win 4-3. So yeah, they have to feel much better about finally getting a decent start out of their guy. So that has to look nice for them. The Giants bullpen obviously has not been amazing this season. Maybe not a disaster, but they're below average with a 4.30 bullpen ERA. No doubt about that. The bullpen has some significant question marks, and the offense can't always pick up the slack, guys. They've scored 2, 7, 3, and 6 runs respectively over the last few games. They're 15th in the majors in runs scored, 14th in the majors in team batting average. Like, just not an elite offensive team. And looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Twins at plus 108, the Giants at minus 118. We got an over-under of 8 in this game. No significant over-under trends to look at. We do see the Twins are a decent road team, but the Giants are a decent team at home. In general, in this game, guys, it's going to be a stay-away spot for me. If you're forcing me to bet it, give me the Giants minus 118 with a chance for Snell to have another very, very good outing. Next on the docket, guys, we got the Seattle Mariners going on the road to take on the Los Angeles Angels. The Mariners come into this game fresh off of a tough 2-1 loss there in Game 3. They lost Game 2 6-5. They lost Game 3 2-1. They won Game 1 11-0, but after that things have gotten a little bleak. They're only a single game up on the Houston Astros for that top spot in the AL West. They're handing the ball in this game to Logan Gilbert, who's 6-5 this year with a 2.94 ERA. So obviously he is looking great, coming off of a middle of the road kind of start at the San Diego Padres. He went 7 2/3 innings. He gave up 4 hits and 3 earned runs, including 2 home runs. He's given up a total of 4 home runs over his last 3 starts. They haven't been against easy opponents, don't get me wrong, but yeah, we've got some question marks about how he's exactly throwing the ball right now. I mean, the dude is obviously good, but coming off of an extended start is a big red flag for us. He hasn't faced the Angels yet this season, so there's nothing to glean from that. And the Seattle bullpen has honestly been trending a little bit down. I mean, they've got a 3.58 bullpen ERA, which is obviously not terrible, but yeah, just not looking like their dominant selves recently. And the offense continues to struggle, guys. They've scored 1, 5. They scored the 11-run game. They scored 2 runs in the game before that. Like, just not an offense you can trust. 26th in the majors in runs scored, 29th in the majors, batting only .220 as a squad. That's some pretty weak stuff. So big questions about this offense, and they're taking on the Angels, who come into this game winners of 3 of their last 4, but we don't have a confirmed starter for them, which is a big problem, because if this ends up being a bullpen start situation, the Angels are fourth from the bottom in the majors with a 4.53 bullpen ERA. Pretty weak stuff there. Not a great pitching staff. The offense has scored 2, 6, 0, and 7 runs respectively, so they've been hitting the ball a bit better, but 24th in the majors in runs scored and 24th in the majors in on-base percentage. Not exactly filling me with a ton of optimism. So looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we got the Mariners at minus 188, the Angels at plus 163. We've got an over-under of 8.5 in this one. Seattle's only 22-27 on the road. The Angels are only 21-29 at home. We see both teams trending slightly towards the over in this given situation. So if you wanted to take over 8.5, that could make some sense to me. But in general, guys, I'm leaning towards the Mariners minus 188. Despite Logan Gilbert coming off an extended start, if he would be coming off a normal length start and maybe a successful start, we'd probably end up with this in the pinned comment. But right now, it's just a lean towards the Mariners for me, and probably kind of stay away. Rounding into the home stretch here, guys, we've got the Atlanta Braves going on the road to take on the San Diego Padres. The Braves come into this game 52-42, coming off of a big letdown experience for us there where they could not get any runs across the plate in Game 2 of this series. They're handing the ball in this one to Chris Sale, who's 12-3 this year with a 2.74 ERA. He's coming off a middle-of-the-road start for him. I mean, he only lasted 5 1/3 innings, gave up 5 hits and 2 earned runs against the Arizona Diamondbacks in a game we eventually saw the Braves win 6-2. The Braves are 4-1 over his last 5 starts, with that only loss coming in a game where he gave up 1 run to the Chicago White Sox and eventually saw his team lose 1-0. So not great stuff from them there, but Sale's been a monster this season. So has this bullpen, guys. The second best bullpen in Major League Baseball with a 2.92 bullpen ERA. Crazy stuff there. If this offense can put anything together, this team is going to win a crap load of games. We do see Ozuna hitting the ball a bit better recently, and over the course of the season, guys, this team is only 19th in the majors in runs scored and 23rd in the majors in on-base percentage. But I do think we can generally expect some decent things from this offense moving forward. They're taking on the San Diego Padres, who come to this game fresh off that 4-0 win. They needed that win to snap a 5-game losing streak. They're 50-48 on the season, handing the ball in this game to Randy Vasquez, who's 2-4 on the year with a 4.66 ERA. He's coming off of a very good start against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Honestly, he's looked good in his last 3 starts in a row, so some very solid stuff, but that 6 1/3 innings against the Diamondbacks is an extended start for him, and that's something we definitely want to keep track of here. How is this dude looking after, an extended start? Not amazing, and yeah, his last time against the Atlanta Braves was not great either. 6 innings, 10 hits. He did only give up 3 earned runs on those 10 hits, but man, he got lucky getting out of trouble a lot of times. So big question marks about Vasquez for sure for me. The Padres bullpen's pretty middle of the road with a 4.12 bullpen ERA, and the bats have looked okay, maybe? I mean, they've looked good over the course of the season, but recently things have been pretty rough. 4-1, 0, 3, and 1 run respectively over their last few games. Not exactly great stuff there. So looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Braves at -185, the Padres at +158. We've got an over-under of 7.5 in this game. Atlanta is 23-25 on the road. That's obviously not great. The Padres are only 26-26 at home. That's not amazing either. We see, obviously Atlanta is a huge under team on the road, but we're not really interested in under 7.5. In general, guys, I'm interested in the Atlanta Braves to win this game. I think they're going to win this game the vast majority of the time. Taking the -185 seems great. Taking the -1.5 also seems good. If you take a -1.5, you can get them at -105 or -110, something like that. So that seems very, very much in play. It does feel a little bit greedy with this offense having, some definite troubles lately, but they've been so good against Vasquez, and he's coming off an extended start. So we'll see which one of these we go for. We might get greedy and go for -1.5, but in general, guys, we're definitely taking the Atlanta Braves to win this game. Last but not least, guys, we're looking at the Toronto Blue Jays going on the road to take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Blue Jays come to this game fresh off of back-to-back losses. They lost 12-1 in Game 2 of this series. They're hitting the ball to Yusei Kikuchi, who's 4-8 this season with a 4.00 ERA. He's coming off a very extended start there at San Francisco. He went 7 1/3 innings, gave up 6 hits and 2 earned runs, including 2 home runs, while striking out 13 in a game we eventually saw the Blue Jays lose 4-3. So pretty devastating stuff there. Also probably doesn't feel great that his team is 0-5 with it over his last 5 starts. So that's a bit rough. Kikuchi has done some good things this season, but not really getting rewarded for it in a meaningful way. The Blue Jays bullpen, on the other hand, has not done good things this season with a bullpen ERA of nearly 5. So big question marks there. Also question marks for this offense that scored 1, 4, 5, and 10 runs respectively over their last 4 games. Not having a great time right now at Arizona, and they're taking on the Diamondbacks in this game once again, who are on a 4-game winning streak. They're up to 49-47 on the year. Handing the ball in this game to Zach Gallen, who's been very, very good this season. He's 6-5 with a 3.33 ERA. He's coming off of a bit of a rocky start against the Atlanta Braves, guys. He went 5 1/3 innings, gave up 7 hits and 4 earned runs. So not his best stuff, but it leaves him in something of a bounce back situation. He hasn't faced Toronto yet this season, so we'll see how he can do against them. But overall this year, we've been pretty happy with how he's throwing the ball. Just his last couple of outings have been a bit lackluster. We do see that the Diamondbacks are 2-1 over his last 3 starts, so that's something positive to look at. And yeah, I mean, the Diamondbacks bullpen is a question mark, guys. It's not great, but it's trending in a positive direction with a 4.33 bullpen ERA that has been much worse at other points this season. The Bats guys are killing it. They've scored 12, 5, 1, and 7 runs respectively over their last 4 games. This team is 3rd in the majors in runs scored and 5th in the majors in on-base percentage. So this is a very, very good offense. And look at the numbers for this game, guys. We see the Blue Jays at +136. The Diamondbacks at -155. We've got an over-under of 8.5 or 8 out there. Toronto is only 22-18 on 22-28 on the road. That is not great. Arizona is 26-23 at home. That's a decent number. And looking at the the Diamondbacks at -155 for this game seems very, very good. I'm expecting good good things from Zach Gallen. I'm expecting a big letdown from Kikuchi, who's coming off of that extended start. So yeah, guys, go ahead and give me the Diamondbacks minus 155. I know it's a bit sketch to be looking at them to, finish the sweep here in this series, but still I think it's a very reasonable spot with Gallen in position to have a bounce back and Kikuchi coming off of that extended start. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Thanks for watching. You can click the link in the description to check out stumpthespread.com, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.